strategic move that Eddie is making for AJ. Why are you not thinking, let's get him set up for
kind of animal? If that was years and years and years ago. Like, Clarissa is a way different fighter from when she was back in.
Thanks to those joining me live and to those that will be joining me on our
defenses that she's had to have recently. You know, she's pulled people.
All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the Roundtable about tribalism. I don't think tribalism is necessarily bad. I just don't think it has to be.
I don't know what he think he sees or what he think he know. But he going to the hospital, bro. Like, bro, you not winning that fight.
You guys mentioned, I think, D-Style, you mentioned him versus Regis Program. I'd love, that sounds like a...
I don't need you, you know, and PBC and others, in my opinion, it's like, oh, this is my guy. Like, there's a relationship.
Flat out, it's tough, and we call box, and we go to the end of the round, and then...
That would say, what do you mean by acting black? That's a fair question, but a participant of trash talk knows...
And they're announcing a fight 3-4 months from now. And he ain't going to fight. I bet you anything. He's not going to fight somebody as good as John Ryan.
All right, we're back. Welcome to another edition of the Roundtable. We have another all-star panel. Sometimes these panels, we have so much knowledge, even I get intimidated. All right, let's get this started. We got Danny, the Lover Glover, in the house, baby. And we got Jeff. Hot Boxing Minute is back with us once again. And we have Manny from the En Vivo podcast. What? I'm Vivo. In the house. All right, we had a very, very entertaining fight this past Saturday. And, you know, this was a 50-50 fight on paper, and it played out just like that. Raymond Ford was behind in this fight, but these were some hotly contested rounds, I believe. And even though he was up against Otabek Kholmatov, I think that you know, the fight was hanging in the balance, and what an emphatic ending. So after this phenomenal performance from Raymond Ford, Eddie Hearn mentioned that maybe he could unify at 126, but he said before and after he wants to go to 130. But again, there's still money down at 126. D-Star, what do you think he does? There's big fights above him and big fights right where he's at. Where does he do?
Well, I did see some interviews where he made it very clear. He wants to move up. He will only stay at the weight. And he said he'll make the weight if it's worth it, meaning money. You know what I mean? If the money's good, he'll do it. If it's the right fight, he'll do it. But it's looking like he wants to move up. This is the title that – you know, Lee Wood just vacated. So if he were to vacate, then that once again, we got a vacated belt. But I like the fight, first of all. As I said last week, this is how a new champion should be crowned, by two top contenders fighting for it, the 1, the 2. I don't like elevations or nothing like that. I just don't. So I thought it was a good fight, great fight. I want to see, me personally, Ford – well, Shockey Foster is the fight to make. I think that's a great fight. To me, I would favor Foster in the fight slightly, but it's a winnable fight for Ford. Ford showed me a lot in this fight. He showed me he kept calling it the dog in him. Like he showed that in this fight. And very similar to Foster, very similar story. Gets this big clutch stoppage in the 12th round when he really needed it. I get there's some, you know, people that have disagreements about whether or not it should have been stopped, but I don't think the ref stopped it because he quote-unquote gave his back. I think he stopped it because a guy was out on his feet. I think that's why he stopped it. And in my opinion, he wasn't able to defend himself intelligently, and I think that's why it was stopped. But I get the time was running out, but I mean, we'll go all the way back to Chavez, Mel Dictator about this. It doesn't matter how much time is left. If it's a buzzer beater win, it's a buzzer beater win. All right. Ford or Shockey Foster is the fight I want. And that's where I'll stand with it. I think he'll probably move up.
Yeah, I find it bizarre, Danny, after the fight that Eddie was talking about unification, undisputed at 126. But there's just so many good fights at 130. He could be undisputed at 130. I think he's good enough where he can hold his own against Shockey Foster and Joe Cordina, all those guys up there. I think would make for great fights. What do you think he should do? And what fight stands out for you that you would love to see him fight next?
Well, I can see what Eddie Hearn would say about moving up because obviously he has Joe Cordina, so both part of Matchroom, so that would be the obvious thing what he would do. But for me, I think that he's 24 years old. He doesn't seem to struggle to make the weight. I know he was listed as 5'7" with the opponent, but it was clearly he was a lot shorter. So I think he can make the weight for at least another 2-3 years. What I would personally like to see, I would like to see him have a unification with the winner of tomorrow of Nick Ball versus Ray Vargas, who are going to win the vacant WBC title. So that would be a good fight. I'm sure Frank Warren has Nick Ball, and Frank Warren would be more than accommodating to put his guy up, which I imagine Nick Ball's going to win it. I'll predict him to win it tomorrow. So I'd like to see like Nick Ball versus Ray Ford, or even if Ray Vargas wins, he could fight him next. So I'd prefer to see something like that first. You got to fight some other champions. You don't just win a title and just jump straight up. You got O'Shaquie Foster, but that might be a bit of a difficult fight to make because O'Shaquie Foster, I'm not sure which promoter he's with at the moment. Has he even got one?
I think he's with Top Rank now, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, because I know
he just signed like last month or something like that with Top Rank.
Yeah, he's with Top Rank, I believe.
Okay, so he's just signed with them. But yeah, so still, it's a bit of a problem with the network. So it's probably best he fights the winner of Nick Ball, Ray Vargas, or if he does move, he just goes for Joe Cordina. Or there's Mauricio Lara. He can get in that fight. Mauricio's very, he's used to fighting on the.
I think Danny's having some internet issues.
Oh, I think it's a 3-fight contract that he's signed with Top Rank.
Yeah. So Danny, if you want to jump back in and jump back out, I think you froze up there a little bit, but we'll go over to you when you get it together. We can go back to you, Danny. Jeff, what did you think of the fight, and what do you want to see next?
Ooh, stunning performance by Ray Ford, and I'll be honest, I wasn't totally sold on Ray Ford. Big ups to Camden, New Jersey. Jersey Joe Walcott, one of my personal favorites, draft Muhammad Kawi. Now you got Raymond Ford. That was a coming out party, pause. But I really wasn't sold on Ford. I was really hung up on his performance against pressure fighters. He had that draw with Aaron Perez, and then he had that very controversial decision against Edward Vasquez. And I was like, how do you work? And then he got the knockout against Sicario Lucas, and I didn't see him as really a pressure fighter. I wanted to see what he looked like as a guy with that popped and had pressure hands and would cut the ring off. And we saw that in his last opponent. I mean, he had the performance against Magdaleno, but man, it was such an awesome fight. I did not expect him to sit there and stand toe-to-toe like that with Otabek. That blew my mind. That meant that showed me that he's a dog, that he is absolutely determined to figure out what he feels is the best game plan for each individual opponent. Because if you watch Raymond Ford's performances, they're different each time and each opponent that he has. So he's capable of adapting and changing. He's out there in New Jersey. He's training with Shakur Stevenson and them. It was a great performance. And talk about digging deep. And, you got to love those fights that are almost like a theatrical movie as they play out, because I had Otabek Kholmatov in my pre-fight prediction.
Yeah, me too.
It looked like, Kholmatov was throwing the heavy leather in the beginning, but he started to get tired. And right about the 4th or 5th round, I just stopped keeping score. I put down my paper and I was like, oh, is Kholmatov getting tired? I can see kind of Ray Ford picking up the pace. It was slight, and then he started to ramp it up. And then that controversial ending at the end with 7 seconds left. Hey, fair play. If you turn your back to the opponent, the referee has it at his disposal to call the fight. That is the rules of Queensberry. You cannot turn your back to an opponent. This is not MMA. You can't run in the octagon. You got to face your opponent. If you turn your back for more than a second or two, it is at the referee's discretion. And Kholmatov was really just stumbling over his feet. Fair play to him. He got the stoppage win. I agree with My man, Mr. Glover, I want to see those unification fights at 126. Leave 130 alone for right now. The green print, make it happen, Captain. I like the Oshaki Foster fight too, but let's stick to the green print. There's nothing but the green print in his division that he's in right now. You got fights with Ray Vargas, who's going to be fighting Nick Ball. You've also got Venado Lopez over there. You've also got Slenderman, the what's his name? The big tall guy, Rafael Espinoza Divino. All those are going to be fun fights for Ray Ford, and I'm all aboard the Ray Ford Express. I think he has the technical capabilities and the pop to make it competitive with anybody else in that division, and I think he should seriously consider unifying and getting that green print and beat a couple of those Mexican champions, because Mexican boxing fans, you beat some of their champions, they rock with you too, and that will only increase his commercial viability and his market value. So I say he should stay in that same division and unify. And I look forward to seeing the next performance from Raymond Ford.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Nando Lamas, with the $4.99 super chat. And also we have another $5 super chat from Carcino Live. Nice to see you, Carcino. It's been a while. Said theatrical fights are great for the sport when it works. I agree. So, Manny, Jeff made some great points, because going into this fight, I thought Kholmatov was going to be the guy to be like the aggressive guy and kind of step to him. And he did do that early on. But then he kind of tried to turn into the boxer the second half. And Ray Ford was the guy in his chest, the aggressive. So the roles were reversed in the second half. So Raymond Ford definitely showed layers. So with that being said, will those layers be enough to become undisputed or go up to 130 and win another title?
I mean, I think he's got the potential. I do agree with Jeff. Obviously, that Kid Vasquez when it was a little bit shaky. I think he did lost that fight. Even Eddie Hearns admitted it afterwards. But as he went on and started fighting all these other guys, he came in and fought afterwards, Sakaria, and then he fought Jesse Magdaleno, and now finally he gets that opportunity for the vacant title. I think the southpaw stand of Otabek, that actually really pushed him back a little bit, and the aggressiveness to that. But what I do like about Ford now is that how he's able to overcome that, and he just turned the fight, real quickly halfway through. He was under pressure a lot. I've never seen Ford cut in a fight. This fight, he got cut right below the eye. And so this is something that he had to overcome too as well. And so for that just shows you the amount of time and dedication he has done, and looking at all the things he's done in the past, and how can I continue to improve to finally get the status and the opportunity to become a world champion. And he just did that. Very strong opponent. I'm going to be honest. I was not rooting for Raymond at this point. I was rooting at Otabek. I think that he stands, his aggressiveness, but also as well, every time he would throw the right hook, he would kept open. So I think that Ford was able to capitalize on certain things that he actually did see through the fight, and that really got him to really take ownership and being able to say, hey, listen, I got the chance, I got the opportunity, I'm going to make the base out of it. I am kind of losing the fight. I'm not sure if the corner was actually telling him that, but at the same time, seeing yourself have, be all bloody up in a fight that he's never been that way, in that condition, I think that really lifted him up and did what he had to do in the fight. What would I like to see him now? I don't want to see him moving up, to the super featherweights. I would prefer him to stay there. One of the fights I've always wanted to see him with Brandon Figueroa. But guess what? What a better way if you want to prove yourself to see if you can hang with the guys at the super featherweight. You should be able to go ahead and fight against Ray Vargas. Ray Vargas had a pretty decent fight against Foster. He moved up. I'm not sure if Foster's going to. Vargas, obviously, he's still a champion, but he had moved up to try to see if he can capture that belt. Foster did what he had to do. He looked like a much superior guy in that fight. And right now, someone that already it's been there, if you can do the same or even better against Ray Vargas, become unified. And then after that, I just don't think there's nothing else he can look forward in the 126. I think that will be the opportunity to say, I'm ready. I just did something even better than what you did to Ray Vargas. I am unified, and that will be a great chance and opportunity relationship with Top Ranks and Eddie Hearn. I mean, it's great, it's fantastic, and I think that they can make that fight happen. The money might be there. I don't think he has to be too greedy yet, because other than that, he's going to limit himself. And you know for a fact that other than Navarrete, up there, there's really a whole lot that you can actually, cash in, especially with now Foster having that Top Ranks contract and being able to fight for him. I mean, he's going to be the A side and Ford's going to be the B side. But Eddie Hearn can make it happen. But I think he needs to really continue to be developed in some of the areas that I did see him shaky a little bit on it. And so he gets too excited at times, and he got caught a few times that I was like, wow. I mean, I was very surprised in that, but I like the fight. I enjoyed it, and I hope that he stays at 126. Because other than that, I mean, I think that he's got better chance to be to unified, and that way, if he's a unified champion, guess what's going to happen to his purse? It's going to increase.
Absolutely, absolutely. So let's switch gears. Big fight announced for May 6th. Naoya Inoue is going to be defending his title against Luis Nery. And Luis Nery is definitely an experienced, tough opponent. He's been up and down throughout the course of his career, but when he is on, he is really, really good and tough to beat. Question is, can he pull one big rabbit out of the hat for this fight? Because he's going to need it. Danny, what are your thoughts on this fight? And it's hard to pick against Inoue, and most of his fights as of late have been one-sided. Can this one be the outlier? Can this be a competitive matchup? Are you intrigued by this one?
Yeah, it's a good fight because he's running out of opponents, but it's a good fight. But to be fair, I don't think he's really looked good since the Shinsuke Yamanaka fight, and that's like back in 2016 and 2017. That was like his sort of, standout win. He got stopped by Brandon Figueroa to the body. We know Inoue is good at a body shot. He's dropped, what's his name? The Filipino Flash with a body shot in the past, and he's dropped other guys in with body shots. So he's probably gonna end up taking Nery out with a body shot, I imagine. But it's going to be an okay fight. But all these guys, I just don't think, they're on Inoue's level. Inoue is on a real ascendancy. He's just dominating. Whatever division he's going through, he's just dominating these guys in serious fashion at the end of the day. And these guys are just not going to be able to. And, Nery, he's been stopped before. So, I'd expect Inoue to beat someone like Brandon Figueroa. So, I don't think Inoue really. I don't think Luis Nery really has a chance against Inoue. But it's a decent name, another decent name. I know the Americans are calling, oh, why don't you come over here come over to America and fight? But he's making, for his weight divisions, he's not going to make those purses in America. So he has to stay in his side and his neck of the woods to make that kind of money, because Americans, they ain't, you ask a lot of these guys as well, you go onto say Twitter and that, and you ask these like the American guys, name me your top 5 super bantamweights. They ain't gonna know the top 5 American super bantam. I wouldn't even say. So what's the point? The Japanese market is where he's making his money. It's just like British fighters, like Ricky Hatton. They make their bones over here in the UK. Anthony Joshua and guys like that. Canelo, yeah, he's got the American market, but his actual fan base is Mexico. Hence, he tries to, accommodate them, go back there sometimes. He's even got his next fight. He was trying to put it on that channel, which was so they didn't have to charge any Mexican fans any pay-per-view money.
Azteca?
Azteca,
yeah,
something like that. So yeah, just stick to what you're doing and make your money where you are, innit? I expect a Inoue knockout, and I think he'll be done by a body shot as well.
So Naoya Inoue just keeps doing everything right. He's staying busy, right? He's back in there with no time at all. Mm-hmm. But Luis Nery, like I said, people don't know which version is going to show up. We saw Nonito Donaire in the first fight with Inoue have a really, really good performance. Do you think Luis Nery could replicate anything that Nonito Donaire did in his first fight against Inoue, or do you think this is going to end up being another one-sided victory for Inoue?
Look, a couple of things. When it comes to Inoue, friend of the show, shout out to Flaka. She does the ESPN knockout stuff. She had told me this is before Inoue lost. Like, Inoue's always at the club. He's always partying. He's not taking things serious. And I remember she said something like, I saw him at the club and I asked him, what the fuck are you doing here? Like, you have a fight in a couple of days, you know? So Luis Nery was having the life. There's no doubt about that, okay? So maybe that could explain why we don't quite know which Nery's going to show up. But I will say this, since the Figueroa fight, I think Luis Nery has done everything right. He has stayed active. He went right back in there. I mean, the year 2022, he fought twice. He fought twice in 2023. That Havanesian fight, by the way, fight of the year candidate, was a great fight. And in that fight, he answered the questions whether his stamina, and what made that fight exciting watching it live was not knowing he was going to be able to keep up with that pace. And he did, right? And he got that late dramatic stoppage in the 11th. So I think for this fight, I mean, he has to show up. Like, he's going to fight Inoue. Like if he doesn't show up for this one, when is he going to show up? Right? Like, so I do believe, I would bank anything. And this fight, Luis Nery is going to show up. And he's probably going to fly out to Japan a couple of weeks before. And I just don't think he's going to be partying the streets of Tokyo. Okay, I think he's going to be ready for this fight. I think he understands the significance of this fight. And don't count Luis Nery out. All right? People counted out Cassius when he lost to Vince Phillips. He got stopped in dramatic fashion in that fight. And that was in 97. People probably said, oh, this guy, he's a hype job. Who knows what they said, right? But guess what? Cassius, he got back in the saddle, right? He didn't sit there and bleed. He got up and he did something about it. He went on a tear after that. He went on a hell of a run after that. So don't overlook somebody just because they lost. And I'll tell you this right now. Of course I favor Inoue. Why wouldn't I favor Inoue? Right? But Inoue's going to if he beats Nery, he's going to beat him in his own way. He can't replicate exactly what Figueroa did. Figueroa's a huge guy for that division, right? A volume guy. And I think he put a lot of pressure on Nery. Plus, I don't think Nery, that's not Figueroa's fault, but I don't think Nery was 100% for that fight or 100% prepared for that fight. This time he will be prepared. He has to be. If he's not, it's going to be an early night. I favor Inoue in the fight. I do. But don't be surprised if there's a couple of rounds where Nery is getting some good work in and there's some competitive rounds. This is a real challenge, and it's a really good opponent for for Inoue to fight if and when he finally moves up to 126 pounds. Because this is a guy who could punch at 122. He's fighting a puncher here. You never count a puncher out, right? Now, of course, Inoue is a puncher and a lot of other things. But it should be a good one. I like the fight personally. And I'm just saying, don't sleep on Nery. Let us think it'll be an easy night for Inoue. I'm sure Inoue won't be preparing that way. I'm sure he'll come prepared as well. But I think it's a good fight. I like the fight.
Manny, the intriguing thing for me with this fight basically is, Nery can box. He can punch. He's a tricky southpaw. Obviously, Inoue is going to be favored. We know that. D-Style's 100% correct. It's hard to pick against him. But I'm looking at this fight. I'm saying to myself, this is something different for Inoue. And this is what makes the fight intriguing, at least in my opinion. What are your thoughts?
Oh, it is. It is different. And it's what I was telling people. I was talking to someone, when Inoue was fighting Marlon, he said if he gets undisputed, he has nowhere else to go. And I said, yes, he could go to 126. He says, no way, he's too small. It's like, watch and see. Watch and see. This fight is a preparation for that. Luis Nery's been up there already, okay? The difference here is, like, Marlon did a really good job trying to stay in the distance and not really exchanging a whole lot with Inoue. Obviously, he got to him, knock him out in the 10th round. The problem with Luis Nery, he's not going to pull back and content himself. He's going to brawl when he can. He's going to make mistakes, and he's going to pay for it. I am not surprised 100% that Inoue will definitely go home early on this fight. And I'm not, I disagree with you, this style. I don't think there's any concern whatsoever. I can see Nery, if he is committed, if he's actually trained well, and he has part weight at least with the partying and all the maniac stuff outside of boxing, yeah, he can come in 100% shape. But you know what? You're going in his backyard. That's a big difference. The second thing, how are you going to adapt around that environment out there? Okay, so and if you just arrive there a couple of days before the fight, I mean, come on, it's a big difference. And so with that and the ability to just really be patient enough, and that's what I love seeing about him lately. He's just so patient. All right, but he's still active. He gets active. He's precise. He's just, his combinations are great. He's going to find a way to really end this thing early enough. And I think I can't compare Nery against Marlon, because I think that Marlon did a great job, but I think that Nery is going to really fall apart maybe by around the 4th round, and that's where we're going to start seeing Inoue shine and do the things that he's going to be able to do. After that, it's just a preparatory to see what can we do next. 126, baby. All of you guys that are looking forward to see what's up next with them. Another division. He can clean out that division, obviously, if he's ready, but I think he'd start with Brandon Figueroa. That will be a guy, even though he's taller, absolutely. But I think Inoue has the ability to clean out the 126 pounds and, another division undisputed. And I like it. I mean, I love it. If you think about what's happening right now in that specific division in the super bantamweight, there's no one else that he can fight there. There's nothing else other than Luis Nery. And we talked about that in the past. It's like, well, yeah, we get it. I mean, Marlon was the guy in there. And so who else can actually come in? And obviously going up in weight and coming down again, is that something that is going to affect Luis Nery, right? And especially not as dedicated and committed he's been in the past, especially Brandon Figueroa. Dista, you were right on spot on that. I think it's going to be a whole lot better than that fight, but I just think it's not enough for the momentum and what Inoue's got going on in his career. The path to 126, here we come. Another division, another undisputed.
Yeah, man, you got my juices flowing with that one, Manny. Imagine Inoue versus Brandon Figueroa. What a fight, bro.
I love it. That's the fight I would really want to see.
Absolutely.
I'm just saying he's a changed man. He saw the light. He's been baptized by the fire and the touch of the boxing's eyes. He was born to love again. He's a brand new man. Nery is coming prepared. I'm favoring Inoue. I'm just saying he's going to put up a better fight than the Paulus. I could go on record and I could say that.
Go for it. And I could say right now he's going to try and he's going to make a mistake. He's going to pay for it because he's careless. It happens with what happened with Brandon, even though he wasn't preparing enough for that. And I think he did an okay job, but he paid for it. You know what I mean?
Manny's saying that he could go in there with the Infinity Gauntlet and he's not going to come
and
out.
Beyond.
So, Jeff, I'm trying to break this fight down in my head, and I'm saying to myself, because I know Nery can kind of grind it out and make it rough on the inside when he wants to. He can grit his teeth and fight like that. And I say if he tries to lay back and be the counterpuncher, I think that's going to be a problem. So I think his only chance is to kind of make this a dog fight and let the chips fall where they may. And this is going to make for a great fight. How long does it go, Jeff? Does it go rounds, or is like Manny said, is this going to be a short night?
Well, I'm not as pessimistic for Luis Nery's performance against Naoya Inoue as Manny is. He said 4 rounds or less, he's going to start falling apart. Now, mind you, this isn't the Zelpatarol version of Luis Nery that ended the career of your boy Shinsuke Yamanaka and got him the lifetime ban from Japanese boxing. I love how the commissioner was like, all right, we'll sacrifice you on the altar of Naoya Inoue and lift that ban in front of 50,000 plus at the Tokyo Dome. Last time they had a fight out there was 34 years ago when James Buster Douglas made history as the most stupendous underdog, come from behind, unbelievable story in boxing history, arguably. Luis Nery, after, he had to clean up his bloodstream of that Zelpaterol, he did look a little bit pedantic, and then he had that loss against Brandon Figueroa, but I feel like he learned from that, and his last few performances have actually not been bad. He had that awesome fight against Azat Hovhannissian. That fight was awesome. He had another tune-up after that. He had that fight with David Carmona, a boxer that isn't terribly heavy-handed, but I thought he's looked good in those performances, and I like the idea of Inoue Inoue finally facing a tough Mexican. I'm not Mexican myself. I am Asian, but I do live in Southern California, and I do know quite a few Mexican boxing fans, and they're very vocal about, their supremacist ideals on boxing, and until he fights a tough Mexican, they're not going to give Inoue Inoue his credit. What happened at flyweight? What happened to that division? I don't really know the politics of it all. He should have fought El Gallo, but it didn't happen, so now he's got a chance to prove that he is what everybody says he is, what we all know he is, that dude. Inoue Inoue's that guy. I do believe Luis Nery does better than 4 rounds. Man, he was like, he's trash. He's going to get worked.
It's not that he's trash. It's just he's careless, and
he's not trash. I think he actually has decent defensive form. He's got a southpaw style, and he's got at least some kind of pop. We've seen that the only real people who can give Inoue Inoue problems are the few guys that have heavy pop, and Nonito Donaire. And I believe that Luis Nery does have a good amount of pop to at least make the fight interesting. He's coming in from a southpaw stance, and I might have to agree with you, Joe, on it, and that he's going to have to make it rough, because you're not going to counterpunch somebody that fast who puts their combinations that quick together. That's a losing proposition. I don't think, what he did against Crazy A is going to work against Luis Nery, but I think it should be an entertaining fight, and I would love for Inoue Inoue to get through this, have a great performance out there at the Tokyo Dome in front of 50,000 screaming fans, and clear a record gate. I don't know. I'm guessing it'd probably be somewhere 20 million to 30 million.
Not screaming. They don't scream over there.
Oh, yeah. They quietly observe and watch with some damn manners.
They clap.
You know what's crazy is you see those videos of the fights, and it's like quiet in the arena during the action, and you're like, whoa.
It's almost like they clap in unison. They'll go.
Yeah.
The best part is when they clean up after themselves, and like the whole arena's clean afterwards. You're like, I love this culture.
Wow.
And I do believe Inoue Inoue is going to get another highlight reel stoppage, but I think Luis Nery will make it interesting, and I believe that the Japanese Boxing Commission meant for him to be a sacrifice, and this is payback for basically ending the career, because that man Shinsuke Yamanaka has not fought since Luis Nery ended him. And he obliterated. I think it was like 4 rounds, 5 rounds when he beat the dog crap out of him.
The first time was 4 rounds. The second time was the second round.
I would just say, like, don't underestimate Nery's punching power. Like, 77% knockout ratio. That's phenomenal.
That's why I believe it'll be an entertaining fight, because from when I look at Inoue Inoue, being that he has so many tools, when you get a fighter like Inoue Inoue, your number one, you need a puncher, and your real only chance with a guy like Inoue Inoue is to punch with him and hope your head is off the center line. Like, that's it. That's all you got. You're going to punch with him and pray to the heavens that your shot lands first. And I think Luis Nery's going to nut up, and that Azteca blood's going to kick in. He's going to be like, here we go, Viva Mexico. And then he's going to proceed to get slept.
I've heard he's giving up the partying life. This is a whole new era. I think man is overlooking that.
It's a brand new Luis Nery. Eddie Reynoso free Luis Nery.
Does anyone know why Luis Nery was fighting in his last fight in Mexico whilst under a suspension from California?
What was the suspension for?
I don't know.
Because I know they do those automatic suspensions after a fight or whatever.
What they do after the fight is they suspend you until you get your medicals updated, and then you get cleared to fight again. I think that's what they do in a lot of these commissions. They'll just put you on a suspension, and then your medicals will do again. You know what I'm saying? So then you get cleared. It's not like a punitive suspension or anything like that. I don't believe.
Okay.
So I want to see Inoue Inoue get through this super bantamweight division, this 122, move up to 126. I want to see him fight the Mexicans. Like, I know it sounds crazy, but I remember people didn't think much about Manny Pacquiao until he brought the nation of Mexico with him after fighting all their legends. If Inoue Inoue wants that crossover appeal and really wants to break the walls of the U.S. market, he's going to have to bring Mexico with him. And Mexico, that's the good thing about Mexico. It's not like America where we make excuses. You beat our guy, we're making excuses left and right. Oh, the water was spiked. The gloves had plaster in them. Leg ed weights, whatever the hell. We make excuses. Mexicans are like, you beat our guy, we're rocking with you.
The water in Australia, bro.
You know what I mean? You're our guy. So I know if he beats like a Divino Espinosa or he beats somebody like a Venado Lopez, the Mexicans going to rock with him. Then we'll start to see Inoue Inoue in the States. We will see him here.
Isn't that another incentive for Ford to try to stick around 126?
Yeah.
Because that's a potential big fight with Inoue, right?
Absolutely.
I believe if he's disciplined enough to keep his weight under check, Ford can. Man, I'm impressed with Ford. I'm on the Ford bandwagon. Camden, New Jersey. Let's go.
I mean, I agree. I mean, I'm not trying to bash Nery there, but then I think about the Carlos Castro fight too as well. I mean, so what happened there? You know, he almost lost that fight too. You see what I'm saying? So there's something going on.
Castro's not like.
That was when he was first adjusting to life Zilpaterol free. You gotta understand when you're on the Bane juice and then you stop the Bane juice, it's like learning how to walk all over again. Like the muscle memory's there, but is the confidence there when you've been juicing the whole time?
I'm just saying he's a brand new man. That's all I'm saying.
I'm glad for that though. I tell you what, and I like Nery. I really do. I've seen him.
He's doing a Bible study now, man. He's doing all the right things.
Blanca said him straight with that. What the fuck are you doing here, Nery? Like, it was a wrap.
Get out of here.
That's hilarious. All right, let's jump into the big weekend, and the fight of the card, in my opinion, is Joseph Parker versus Zhilei Zhang. 50-50 fight. I think Parker really has a shot here. What say you, Manny?
I do too. I'm a Zhang fan. I love it, and like what he's doing. I like how he's redeemed himself and been able to overcome that the big loss. But he's just getting better and better and better. And if you ask me, I mean, this is a guy that it's bringing a lot to the sport. He started big, huge. I mean, it's just So I think that right now it's an opportunity for Parker to keep showing that he still has something in the game. But I tell you what, Zhang, he's gonna have a great chance here. And so for me, I like Zhang. I've been always a really good fan of him, and I like the way that he can definitely address certain things inside the ring. He's moving a little bit better in the last fight too as well. He's trying to stay more active and in control. And so right now, what a better way to do it with someone that, it's been there already. Someone that's got, the huge amount of talent and the experience of Joseph Parker. So I'm excited, man. This is something that, a lot of people didn't see it coming, and it got made, and, gives another weekend of excitement. And so for boxing and for both of the guys' career, would this be Parker's last run? I don't know. I think he's still going to keep, being a gatekeeper at least for some point, but it makes it interesting. He makes fights interesting for these up-and-coming contenders, champions as well. So I'm liking it, man. I like it. I'm rooting for Zhang, but, I would say, like D-Style says, don't sleep on Parker.
Jeff, the most hilarious thing at the press conference was Parker goes like this. He goes, Zhang said he's going to bang me, but I'm going to bang him. So, Jeff, who's getting banged tomorrow?
Zhang bangs everything. Right. Zhang bangs unpause. No, I love the idea. As a Asian American myself, I love seeing Asian males in the conqueror role because I don't believe we get enough of that in Western entertainment. Let's go Shogun. Let's go Avatar. Big Bang Zhang, 7 foot tall, knocking people out. The monster. He's not 7 foot tall. He's a big dude. I like Big Bang Zhang. Obviously, he is an anomaly out there in China. He's got a huge cult following, explosive power in that right cross, his left cross because he's a southpaw. He's kind of a slow, cumbersome dude. Joseph Parker is riding a wave of confidence. I love what Andy Lee has done with the remodeling of the whole building that is Joseph Parker, it really looked like it was a career ender the way he got beat by the Juggernaut. And the Juggernaut looks like after fighting Zhang, looked like he might not be the same. But Joseph Parker's riding such a wave of confidence, man. 4 fights, took out Deontay Wilder, who arguably wasn't really that talented. But he did have an explosive right hand that he had to watch out for. And Joseph Parker was just dead in his chest. So I know at the very least, Andy Lee's going to come up with a game plan. And man, I want so bad to see the underdog win, Joseph. And depending on what time of the day you ask me who I favor, it's been shifting like that. I'm like, man, is Zhang coming in at 300 pounds? Oh, he's trying to blow Jason. Pause. He is trying to explode Joseph Parker's cranium off his head at 300 pounds. Like, clearly, Big Bang Zhang is not trying to box. He's like, I'm going to knock you the hell out. But can that work to Joseph Parker's advantage? Can he use his mobility? Because Joseph Parker in the past has shown himself to be an adept mover, and he's a boxer's boxer. Big Bang Zhang is good at cutting angles, but he's not a foot mover per se, as so much as he just knows how to sidestep enough to create an angle to get that hand, that straight left to connect. So it's interesting, and it's hard not to get infatuated with Big Bang's power. Triangles obviously don't hold up in boxing. Just because he did it to the Juggernaut doesn't necessarily mean it's a shoo-in that he's going to be able to do it to Joseph Parker, because styles make fights. And damn it, during the whole week I was like, look out for Joseph Parker. But now that I'm here on record, I think I'm going to go with Big Bang by late stoppage. But I am not putting nothing past Joseph Parker. I would love it if he won his 5th straight fight and all of a sudden put himself in the mix as far as another title shot. That would be so awesome. I think it's great to be, a former MTK drug smuggler and be back in a title contention slot. Tongue-in-cheek joke. But yeah, Big Bang Zhang, late stoppage.
So Danny, we haven't seen Zhang get into that second half in his last 2 fights, and on many occasions when we have seen him get into that second half, it's not always the same fighter that he is in the first half. And Parker definitely takes guys into the second half of the fight. He even took Joyce into the second half of the fight, but one could argue maybe he just stayed in the pocket a little bit too long. He wasn't using his footwork as much as he's used in the past, because we know Parker's got a great pair of legs. Pause. He can go in and out. So
in and out, yeah.
What do you think here, man? I think I'm actually picking Parker to win by decision. I'm in the minority. What do you think, Danny? Am I wrong?
Wow, interesting.
The PR on this one.
Well, yeah, I know Hot Boxing, also Zhang, he's from, he lives in New Jersey as well, Bloomfield. So, yeah, that's a good thing. But, yeah, Joseph Parker and Zhang, they've both had a great 2023. Big Bang Zhang, shout out to my boy Funky D as well. He remixed his song "Are You Gonna Bang." I don't know if you noticed that Zhang was coming out to that song. Yeah, that's one of my mates. So yeah, that was a good song. But yeah, it's interesting that he's coming at 291 pounds. So he's coming for the KO. As we know, as you said, Joe, that Zhang, the first half of the fight, he dropped Filip Hrgović. I thought he won the fight, to be fair, and we know that even with the draw against Jerry Forrest, he dropped Forrest in rounds 1, 2, and 3, even though it ended up being a draw in the end, because the second half of the fight, he does tend to fade. He is 40 years old. He is weighing 291 pounds now, nearly 300 pounds, but he doesn't look fat with it. He still looks solid, so he must have he must have those, genetically big, Far East Asian calves, so he's a big, strong dude. So Joseph Parker needs to be careful, because if I saw someone write in the comments, if Joseph Parker don't get on the inside, he doesn't have no chance. To me, he needs to stay on the outside, because if you're getting on the inside and you're getting into a little, tussle match with Big Bang Zhang, that's going to wear you out pretty quickly, because Joseph Parker weighed 247, so he's a good 45 pounds outweighed, so that wouldn't be very smart. But I think, as much as it was a great win by Joseph Parker against Wilder. Wilder weren't throwing no punches. He was very negative. We know that Zhang is gonna bring it. So Joseph Parker has to be very careful. And we know he's got a good beard, And really, when he did get knocked out by the Juggernaut, it was more of war of attrition, where he got worn out, and that's what kind of got him taken out. But he did get dropped a couple of times against Dillian White as well. So if Big Bang Zhang hits him with the big curve in left or the right, it could spell big problems. But it's a pick 'em fight. To me, that's the real main event. But I'm gonna go with Big Bang Zhang for the KO, and I hope he does get the rematch with Filip Hrgović for the vacant IBF, because I think that'll be a good fight, and I think he'll get it. He'll get redemption, go out. He'll probably be the first Chinese heavyweight world champion as well. So he makes some history there, and he probably makes some good bucks out in China if he gets a little homecoming as well. So yeah, I'm going with Big Bang Zhang.
D-Style, this is a crazy division, this heavyweight division, when you have a guy giving up several inches in height, 40 pounds in weight sometimes. And that doesn't necessarily mean just because you're outweighed and you're the much smaller guy that you're going to lose. I mean, Mike Tyson and Evander Holyfield and Alexander Usyk definitely showed us something different when it comes to size. So is the size really going to matter tomorrow, in your opinion?
I think it will, but not in the way people think. I think carrying more weight could become a detriment to you. I think I'm actually picking Parker in this fight. I think this is the fastest feet Zhang's ever fought. This is the fastest hands he's ever fought. This is the fastest heavyweight he's ever fought. This is the more skilled heavyweight he's ever fought, in my opinion. And he has way more experience than Zhang in the pros. Of course, I understand. He lost some of those fights. I get it, but it's still experience, and I think he's still young. And Parker is he's in his early 30s.
He's like 33, 32, 33.
Yeah.
32.
And I do believe fighters could get better. I believe he's improved as a fighter. I think he's gotten better as a fighter. Zhang is 40 years old. Zhang is 40 years old, and look, we didn't get to see him go the distance against Joyce. He knocked Joyce the hell out, right? But Joyce is a sitting duck compared to Parker. Parker's not going to stand in front of Zhang. It's just not going to happen. He's going to give him movement, right? And I'm going to tell you right now, I do believe that he's got to weather the early storm. If Zhang wins, I do believe he'll stop him early. Or at least hurt him to the point where Parker doesn't recover, something like that. But I think once you get past the 5th or 6th round, I think Parker takes over. I think Parker starts to work the body on the inside. I think Parker's fast hands will be able to hit Zhang and get out of the way at the same time. I think Zhang is I understand he could punch. The Big Bang, I get it. But it's not, again, I think sometimes I feel like punching power is just, I get it's a heavyweight division, and we all say it all the time. Oh, it's a heavyweight division. One punch can end it all. I get it. But that also tells me that they're used to fighting big punchers. I think he's fought AJ before who could punch. He's fought Wilder. He took some of Wilder's right hands. And Parker showed me he took a lot of damage from Joyce before he was finally stopped. I also think that if there were a rematch, I do think Parker would beat Joyce in a rematch. It's my opinion. I got Parker in this fight winning a decision. It won't be easy, definitely not early in the fight, but I think he'll handle Zhang after the 5th or 6th round. That's my prediction. I think he boxes Zhang, and I think he gets a decision when it's all said and done. Parker, I think, will be – look, I'm not comparing him before anybody jumps on me, but – I think he's going to be one of those guys that's going to fight everybody, and there's going to be some wins and losses, but he's always going to be in it, and that's like the modern day like Evander Holyfield. Everybody counted Evander Holyfield when he was knocked out, okay, when he was stopped, okay, by holy shit, Big Daddy
Riddick Bowe.
Riddick Bowe, thank you. Okay, so when Riddick Bowe stopped him. okay, he's done, et cetera, right? But it comes back, he beats Tyson, and he loses to Lewis, and he comes back again, and he goes. I think they had 3 fights with Ruiz, whatever it is, right? I just think Parker's going to be that guy. He's always going to be around. He may be taken down here and there, but he'll always circle back around. This is a very disciplined guy. This is a very skilled fighter, in my opinion. I got Parker. I'm riding with Parker. New Zealand, stand up.
Experience.
All right? He's got the experience. He's going to give him an all-around experience. He's the younger guy and the more experienced pro.
Plus, the weight can take a factor into it. In the late rounds, I mean, I can see Zhang exhausted, and that's where he can take advantage.
100%, Manny. I'm glad you said that. I think Zhang
don't sleep in Parker. I told you. I'm trying to be style now.
You don't want to fade against Parker. You just don't want to do it. Parker's not gonna stop, bro. He's the little engine that could of this division. That engine ain't gonna stop. It just isn't gonna stop. So I think, and here's another thing. Everyone keeps talking about the power of Zhang, and I'm not saying Zhang hits harder than Parker. I'm not. But it's not. When Parker hits dudes, those punches don't tickle, okay? I think he could hit hard enough to get your respect. Parker, let's go. New Zealand, stand up.
Shout out to Irish Philly Drew. He said, disagree, Danny. Get inside. You take Zhang's best weapon, straight left hook. Here's the thing. Let me just give you my opinion. He does have to get inside, but he can't stay inside. He's got to go in and out, or when he goes in there, he's got to turn him. So he's got to get close in spots, but he can't stand there like he did with Joyce and plant himself in the pocket and go blow for blow. So in my opinion, I think you have to kind of specify when you say go inside. He can't just stay there and set up shop there and just not move and do a Gotti Ward type thing, similar to what he did against Joyce. He's got to do an Usyk and be an ambush guy, go in and out, spin him, turn him. He can't stay stationary up close. Go ahead, Danny.
Yes, because he tried to go inside with the juggernaut Joe Joyce. He got worn out and knocked out by the big, strong dude, which is like Zilly Zhang, a big, strong dude. He was fighting inside with Andy Ruiz, and he arguably lost that one. Yes, he does have a great engine, because even though he was dropped twice by Dillian White, he did manage to drop Dillian White in the 12th and last round. So yes, the engine is good. So if Zilly Zhang does gas out, Joseph Parker can rally back for a nice, strong finish. But yeah, all that staying inside, I don't think is because Zhang as well, he has, for someone of his age, he has fast twitch muscles in his shoulders, because the way he can recoil that straight left hand is super fast. It's just like, whoop, like Floyd Sr. For an old man, his hands still move pretty fast, and I think that's what Zhang's got. He's taking his ginseng, and it's working. So you got to be very careful, because if you get hit with that straight left hand, that's a detonation, sunshine. So yeah.
No, I agree, Danny. He can't park himself there. He's got to go in and out. He's got to move. He's got to use his foot. He's got to use his feet. Definitely got to use his feet.
Yeah, just because his name is Parker doesn't mean he's going to park.
All right, the main event: Anthony Joshua versus Francis Ngannou, and this is an interesting matchup if I ever saw one. I'm looking at all different polls here, and I'm looking at polls from people who are kind of like boxing guys, like not just MMA polls. These are boxing polls. Some polls have Ngannou like 45% thinking he's going to win. Some people have it 50-50. More often than not, the polls are having Joshua like 65-35, whatever. So people think Joshua's going to win this fight. He is the favorite. He is the popular opinion favorite here. But the question is, how does this fight end? A lot of people are saying he stops Ngannou. I tend to think this is going to go the full 10. I think he's going to fight similar to the way he fought against Andy Ruiz. I think he's going to use space and stuff like that. I think this fight is intriguing. How do you think this plays out, Jeff?
This is the fate of the balance of the universe hangs on those shoulders of Anthony Joshua. What is it? Nigerian. It's Nigerian, Cameroon going against the fate of the combat sports world and the future of how the narratives get spun rests on the shoulders of two gigantic Africans. That's what's going on right now. Because Tyson Fury, man, he screwed the pooch in the last event, sharted all over the bed, hot, steaming, wet, nasty diarrhea. I don't know what was going on, if he just took, that man Francis Ngannou for granted, or Francis Ngannou is just low-key underrated, that good as a boxer. I've watched the footage of that fight, and, Francis Ngannou looked good. He didn't box that good when he was in the UFC. He was just like this guy throwing windmill punches, lunging forward. But then again, the, striking skills hand-to-hand of, there's a huge difference in the skill set, obviously, of most MMA guys when it comes to actually throwing hands in a coordinated manner. So you can wing them and just walk forward. But it's an interesting matchup. Anthony Joshua, who I believe a lot of casual boxing fans already dismissed as being weak-minded and weak-chinned, I believe has somewhat turned that narrative around by banging out several wins in a row, especially against Otto Wallin, who took Tyson Fury to the depths of hell and back. And it's hard not to like Francis Ngannou when you really take into account his entire story, working the salt mines of Cameroon, coming up against the UFC machine. In his last championship fight in the UFC against Cyril Gane, he got paid $600,000, for God's sakes. Jack Dempsey fought for the heavyweight championship of the world more than 100 years ago and made $750,000. That's how far behind the relative pay rates are. And then to have the UFC world and Dana White essentially turn their back on him, that's fascinating. He went up against the whole machine single-handedly, fighting for more fair distribution of the wealth within the pay rate system in the UFC, because most of the money there goes to the infrastructure, which is very different than how the stars of our boxing world do this, that the distribution of wealth is so different over there. Most of it goes to the corporate heads and to the shareholders, with minimal disbursement of funds to the actual fighters themselves. And in his last fight against Tyson Fury, he made $10 million, more than his entire MMA career. Now he's going to make $20 million to fight Anthony Joshua. And I think Anthony Joshua, without a doubt, is the most heavily decorated professional heavyweight boxer of this era. He's not a champion at the present moment, but he's easily got the most accomplished resume as far as just who he's fought. Holy crap, it's a who's who. Dillian White, Povetkin knocked out Vladimir Klitschko in front of 90,000 at Wembley Stadium. And you have to really seriously take into account Francis Ngannou's power, because he has freak show power. He showed that against, that man, Tyson Fury, the Gypsy King. You saw the look in his eyes. He did the Curtis Stevenson when he hit the ground. Poof, eyes went wide like, holy crap. This dude hits like a truck. He's just born with that kind of freak show power. That's God-given. You can't teach that. With that being said, I can't go against the boxing, man. Anthony Joshua got to do this right. If not, you know what the comment sections are going to look like. You know how the UFC stands and the UFC cucks are going to come out so deep in the boxing comment sections talking about boxing is done. And they have every right to talk that trash, because by many people's accounts, Francis Ngannou should be the lineal heavyweight champion of the world. By many people's accounts, he should have won that fight. I don't think so. Round by round, I had it for Fury, but I could totally understand how they saw it in favor of that man Ngannou. And I'm not going to argue too much about it, because I get it. I get it. He got the knockdown. Francis and Tyson Fury was on shook status, fighting very cautiously. I've always believed that when it comes to just sheer fundamentals, that Anthony Joshua is one of the better boxers in the heavyweight division. And I think if Anthony Joshua sticks to his fundamentals, doesn't get greedy, doesn't overreach for that extra ham hock on the table, that extra piece of, food right there, just doesn't overreach and just sticks to his fundamentals, stays in his balance, doesn't overreach, I believe he can win this in a clear decision and really separate the class, because now we have footage on Francis Ngannou. We know what he's capable of. The man can switch hit. He likes to throw with you. I noticed that. Francis likes to throw with you. That makes it very difficult, because Francis will eat a punch to get one off on you, because not only does he have knockout power, he's got a chin that hasn't been cracked yet. Holy crap. But I'm going with Anthony Joshua by decision. Holy crap. If Francis Ngannou knocks him out, Oh, the comment sections are over.
The weight of the whole boxing community is on Anthony Joshua's shoulders tomorrow. And Eddie Hearn said he's worried. He's worried, Manny. Are you worried?
I am worried. I'm concerned. I've never been an Anthony Joshua fan. I've never been in that hype, but I think that Josh is good for the sport. And so Ben Davidson's instructions has to be you got to keep throwing punches. You can't just stay there and just not jabbing at all. And so, right now, if you think about it, the best momentum of both fighters is in Ghana. The way he changed completely, the way he fought. Obviously, he wasn't that great puncher in the UFC, when it comes to a boxing skill. But, I think he did learn a lot from, Mike Tyson when he wasn't a trainer. He said he was a coach. He wanted to be clear about that. And I think the experience that he gave to Ngannou for that fight made a difference. The way he was jabbing, the way he was moving. And in that straight jab that kind of took Fury, by surprise, and then boom, there you go. So now it's a matter of the dedication that he's had. In an interview the other day I was watching with David Cooper, one of Ngannou's trainer. He says he's going to stay in Saudi Arabia, and that's where he wants him to train. He wants to be able to adapt to the style, adapt to the rhythm, adapt to the location. And so when you have a guy that was very, very, very close to his eyes, I know he thought he won. When I looked at the fight a couple of times, I said, no, I think Tyson had the slight edge within the fight. But at the end of the day, like Jeff said, it could have gone either way. It would have going to shock the world if Ngannou would have gotten the decision. But it wasn't going to be possible. Close fights like that are not robberies. It's just a matter of what's next. And there is no way now that Ngannou was going to get the decision. There's so much money to be made afterwards with Tyson Fury, especially the undisputed status against Usyk, which it kind of got postponed for the moment. But that's something that even the Saudis want to be able to see. They want to entertain themselves, and they put in a lot of money into the people they want to be able to see. And I think they Ngannou earned the hearts and the and being part of the Saudis entertaining. And they'll pay whatever it takes to see him fighting. And if he shocks the world Saturday, I believe that that is the end of Joshua's career. To be honest, right now, a lot of people think of that right now. I don't think Joshua will become a world champion again, to be honest, especially, the belts are, held by two fighters. And I don't think neither of the fights are going to happen. Maybe it could. Maybe if Fury wins, maybe Joshua and Fury, which people really want to see that fight, that could end up happening over there in Saudi Arabia. But at the end of the day, if he loses this fight, I think the career is done. He's probably not going to, he should retire, to be honest, but I don't think he will because he's still going to attract people. He's big out there. He's big in the UK, and he's got so many fans, and he still attracts a lot of people to want to pay his fight and watch his fights. And so he's got a lot of shoulder in his weight, a lot of weight in his shoulder. And I believe right now, if you don't really take advantage and focus, which I talked to this a lot in our show, is after the Andy Ruiz fight, Anthony Joshua was never the same. Anthony Joshua is right now, he's concerned of getting hit because the amount of punches he took against Ruiz, I think it did some kind of damage to him that kind of holds him back a little bit. He's finally getting his confidence moving up, which is really good. And I think right now that will be the difference in that. You got to beat a man that punches hard with your boxing skills. And I believe that he needs to continue to keep jabbing. He needs to continue to hold down some of that stamina because he's proving that as the later round comes out, Anthony Joshua is starting to kind of pull back a little bit on that. So he's got to be very strategic in how he's going to throw the combinations, but also not get caught up like he normally does. So if you look things on paper, obviously Anthony Joshua should be a huge favorite in this fight. But because of what happened in the previous fight, and I think that was just an anomaly because Tyson Fury was not prepared for that fight. He didn't take him serious. I don't know what the heck he was doing. I don't think he trained the way that, Fury trained against Wilder's fights, right? And I don't think and I think he learned about that. That's why he was real focused for the Usyk fight. But right now, the momentum is shifted to Ngannou. He's got nothing to lose and a lot to gain because even if Ngannou loses, he's still going to be fighting for the Saudis and entertaining them. So, Anthony Joshua, I am rooting for you. I'm hoping he gets a late stoppage because of his skill and his experience. But at the same time, if he gets caught once again right here, that's going to be the end of Anthony Joshua. Sadly enough, though.
So, a lot's being said about how Francis Ngannou got more confidence because of the Fury fight. But sometimes with that confidence becomes bravery. And sometimes when you're too brave, you take chances, you become more aggressive. Could this confidence work against him in this fight against Anthony Joshua, this extra confidence, D-Style?
I don't know. I think there could be a false sense of confidence for sure. But could that be he's just, he's saying what he needs to say to keep himself believing in himself and all that? Probably. But here's what I will say. Francis Ngannou is not going to win this fight. All right. And I know, I'm seeing a lot of boxing fans very worried here, and I get it. It would be very embarrassing for the sport. And I don't want to hear and I know it's whatever to me, this, I hope Ngannou wins. I love upsets. And no, this will be embarrassing for the sport. All right. Let's just acknowledge what it is, that defense mechanism doesn't work with me. It's embarrassing. The casuals will say, why the fuck do I want to watch boxing if the MMA guys are better at boxing than the boxers? That's embarrassing to the sport. In no other sport will we tolerate, all right? Well, what they tolerate, like a tennis player, a basketball player challenges him to a game of tennis and he takes him to the limit and like all this. It is embarrassing to the sport if Ngannou wins the fight. I don't care if he's a nice guy. I don't care if you like his story. I don't care. He came from nothing. All that shit. You guys just don't want to face the music that it would be embarrassing, right? So you're bracing for impact. That's what you're doing. You're putting on your seatbelt and you're scary. Why are y'all scared? You really think
I'm scared, bro. I'm scared.
You really believe he's going to beat an
For
Olympic
that reason,
gold
we're
medalist?
scared.
Hold on, let me cook. You think he's going to beat an Olympic gold medalist? You think he's going to beat a two-time heavyweight champion who comes in shape? Anthony Joshua's going to fuck up Ngannou. And are you scary, motherfucker? I don't want to hear you after the fight. Oh, yeah, of course he should have won. He's the boss. No, you don't get to say that because you're being scary. Stop being scary. Okay, I'm seeing the MMA guys letting their balls hang more than the boxing guys right now. I see the MMA dudes saying, Ngannou's going to go in there, he's going to knock him out and kill the sport of boxing. And they're showing more balls and it's not the sport. If Anthony Joshua can't win this fight, grab the heavyweight division and throw it in the trash. Let's just get rid of it. Let's retire the heavyweight division. There's no reason for it to exist. That's a point blank period. They get to brag and say, hey, the best boxer in the world is a fucking MMA dude who doesn't even love your sport as much as you guys do. His dream fight is to go fight John Jones. That's what he wants to go do. So all you dudes out here, I love the story. I think it's good for boxing. He's going to take the money, and then he's going to say, I fucked up your dudes. He's going to abandon the sport, and he's going to go do his dream fight with John Jones. That's what he's going to do. It's going to help MMA grow, not boxing. That's just the reality. Now, I understand a lot of you are being scary. You're scared. I get it. Oh, no. You're scared that Anthony... Why are you being scary? Because Tyson Fury showed up out of shape? They're fucking balloons as love handles? They didn't think the dude's serious? Because of that? And they fight again, Fury fucks him up. That's just the truth. I'm just going to put it this way. I like Ngannou. There's nothing against him personally, right? But after Anthony Joshua dispatches and destroys of him, okay, he could go back and do his dream fight with John Jones, and we could keep the shit moving, all right? Because Tyson Fury caused all this shit. Tyson Fury's a reason we have to go through this bullshit again, all right? Tyson Fury did this. Let me tell you something. Ngannou knocks out Joshua. How does that make Fury the undisputed championship? It doesn't matter anymore. Don't you guys I don't know if people understand what's at stake here. I don't think people understand. I just don't. But you know what I'm not? I'm not scary. Right? I ain't scared. That if Anthony Joshua gets knocked the fuck out, you know what? I'm just gonna retire. I'll never talk about another heavyweight fight ever again. We'll do the roundtable, okay, for the Usyk Fury fight. I'm just gonna sit here silent. Like I got nothing to say. I don't want to talk about these bums that can't beat MMA fighters. Okay? I'm just not gonna do it. Because this shit wouldn't happen in another division.
No, it wouldn't happen in another division.
Yeah, we wouldn't be worried for shit. Like, well, Sugar O'Malley, he wants to fight Tank. Dude, are you like, that's laughable. But here, people are wondering and they're pondering if this MMA dude, I don't care if he has a boxing background. He was an amateur boxer, had maybe one fight, okay? So what? And that's where he started. Everyone needs to understand. We need to retire this division if a two-time heavyweight champion cannot beat this motherfucker. All right? I saw that French kickboxer outbox Ngannou, and then Ngannou had to take him down. If Joshua can't do it, then what the fuck are we doing here? What type of inferior athletes does the sport have? And you could, and I know you're one of them, baby. You could put, but I love the underdog story, and Ngannou's such a nice guy. He wears such nice clothes, and he's such a good guy, and I'm so happy for him. He's gonna laugh at you and go back to MMA because that's his passion, that's his love. Boxing is something this dude is doing on the side. How can I let this dude this is his side project? Ain't no way Joshua could lose to this guy. That would be absolutely embarrassing for the sport. And it would just eradicate everything. We just got to retire the division and this guy loses. That's all I got.
Oh, man, yeah, I want to go punch a baby now. What's good?
It's going to be like when Ric Flair took the WCW title. Woo! And he brought it over to the WWE. Remember that?
Yeah.
That's what it's going to be like. That's what it's going to be like. Eddie Hearn's scared right now. He's nervous.
He's the one scared. He's
on the podium.
Joshua's going to win, and everyone's scared because of what may happen. But then we have people pretending like it would be cool if Ngannou won. You think it would be cool because you want to see some. This is not like a boxer underdog story. This is a dude from another sport. Like, I'm just the defense mechanism of I would love it for it to happen. Bullshit.
Well, my feet are on the fire on this one because, like Joe was saying earlier, he's watched the polls, right? And I believe obviously the gambling odds are the truest indicator of what's going on with the boxing public. And Anthony Joshua is the favorite, as he should be. Now, being that a large majority of my following, about 170,000 people, are on TikTok, which just so happens to be significantly portion younger people, which is what boxing badly needs. In my comment sections, it's like 90% plus in favor of Francis Ngannou. They want to see him trash AJ. They're all under the belief, and you got to say these are young, mostly American kids, so it's bad enough our American, grown audience, the Gen Z and the boomers, don't know jack shit about boxing outside of the U.S. You get these youngsters, and in their mind, Anthony Joshua is some scrub with a weak chin. It's horrible. But in my comment section, 90% of them are like, Francis Ngannou's going to beat the dog shit out this dude, and we're all going to laugh at you, Hot Boxing Minute. So, yeah. So I'm just like, AJ, please don't blow this. Holy crap.
It's not just AJ, though. This is what people don't understand, right? If AJ loses, that diminishes his win over Vladimir Klitschko, was a long-reigning champion. That diminishes all his wins, everything he's accomplished. Even his competitive losses to Usyk are all diminished. Don't people understand all that? It makes the sport. Sometimes things are bigger than what you usually look at, right? Mm-hmm. If you love seeing the underdog win, sometimes the respect of the sport is more important than that. And in this case, I'm wondering if for whatever reason, because I don't believe Ngannou has a shot to win this fight. I'm just going to be honest with you. I don't. My boxing brain is telling me, no, this guy can't win this fight. I saw him fight that dude, and he hit him several times. That in the UFC, that fat motherfucker. What's his name? The dude that
Derek
got the
Lewis.
KFC. Yeah, he could have knocked out Derek Lewis, bro. Why? Because Derek Lewis could crack a little bit. Well, when he feels Joshua's power, it's going to be a little like he's going to be a little tentative himself. He doesn't fight at a fast pace, and he looked really tired in the middle rounds against Fury. But Fury was more tired because he was out of shape. Fury looks like he needs a KFC fucking sponsorship. By the way he was looking, all right. That's just how I feel about that, man. But the frustrating part is, as confident as I am, these are two big men, and one punch could change everything. AJ could be dominating the whole fight, and boom, oh my God, AJ's on like. So it's whatever to me, but I do think AJ wins this fight.
So you would feel the same way if AJ wins, but by decision?
I think if AJ wins by decision, I'll take it. I got to see the fight. If it's like very one-sided, it is what it is. But I don't know. It's whatever to me.
But you got to take a couple things in consideration. The fact that AJ's not the same, and Ngannou is putting a lot of effort, right? And I give it up to him. He's putting some efforts to learn the sport and be better at it, just not thinking that I'm going there as a part-time to make more money than my full-time, which is UFC. And sometimes we'll have some people
MMA fighter, Manny.
I understand he is an MMA fighter, but he's putting a lot of focus and a lot of effort to be a much better boxer, right? And
how would you feel like if Jake Paul went in there and knocked out Canelo? How would you feel about it? Even though Jake Paul's working hard?
Jake Paul's a different story. He's
he's working hard, man. He's working really hard at what he does, isn't he?
Yes.
And that's how you sound. Canelo's been on the decline, not the same. No. Jake Paul's putting in a lot of work. I just think to me, that's how it sounds. When you say, well, AJ's on a decline, he hasn't been the same, but Ngannou's been working really hard. That's how it sounds to me. It's not his sport.
Yeah, but what's it? Jake Paul's about 185, so it's like Jake Paul knocking out Beterbiev. That'd be even funnier. But what I would say is, a lot of people, because I've had even phone calls. I had a phone call from Spencer Fear, and he was like, "Oh yeah, Ngannou's going to knock out AJ." He was saying,
he didn't say that, did he really?
Yeah, he said that to me on the phone. I can't believe it. He was like, "Yeah, he's gonna show him who the real African is." I'm like, mate, AJ's Nigerian. And I said, I'm team boxing at the end of the day. But the MMA guys, I know. Listen, I said I'm team boxing because at the end of the day, a lot of channels will have to close down if AJ loses, for one. For two, like this guy, he's an MMA guy. He can't box properly. AJ should be stopping him, really. Look at when Mayweather carried bloody Conor McGregor. Ngannou, he had a good little showing, but now this footage of him he ain't going to be able to do much with someone like AJ. AJ knows how to box. He's an Olympic gold medalist at the end of the day. People are saying, oh, he's not the same. But I see him sort of dominating Ngannou like he did against Jermaine Franklin. Depending on how good Ngannou's chin is, he might be able to stay up for the full 10. But I expect him to get dominated. And it wouldn't surprise me if AJ puts him on the canvas, at least on one of those occasions. But also, let's remember, people talking about, oh, MMA guys, you guys will never step over to our discipline. Do you guys remember? Old man, basically 48 years old, Ray Mercer, going into the cage and knocking out UFC heavyweight champion Tim Silver in 10 seconds, slumped him. But, the MMA guys, they don't like to bring that one up. They don't like to talk about that. So we can, us boxing guys, we can go over there and do that as well. But Ngannou, he ain't going to be doing nothing at the end of the day. Why people are so scared? It's just because they want the demise of boxing. There's a lot of people who hate on boxers and boxing in general, and there's people who just hate on AJ because he does well sexually. He's a good-looking guy. Their girlfriend's probably in his DMs. Their WCW's in his DMs, and they're hitting him up, and they're feeling, you little punk. I'll knock him out. Do you know me? I'm on the roads. I'm a bad man. I'm this, I'm that. But you're just hating at the end of the day. So that's why they want to see Ngannou win. They don't really know his journey. They even how many Ngannou fights have most of these guys even watched? Ngannou is not really super value for money when he was in UFC. Like, look at his fight with Cyril Garnett. It's a bit cumbersome. He isn't like a John Jones. He isn't exciting. He's not like a Randy Couture, Chuck Liddell. If he throws and swings his hands for the hills and knocks out like that guy like Bayless or whatever his name is, then yeah, but it's not really. Come on, this guy's a bit of a civilian at the end of the day. I expect AJ to dominate him. It wouldn't surprise me if AJ stops him, but he has got a big head, big neck, big shoulders. So I think he'll get dropped, and AJ will dominate him in good fashion and win a unanimous decision. All he's got to do is make it look like domination, because obviously Fury's messed up the whole thing and got Ngannou another bag by making this some stakeout basically. So now AJ has to clear up this mess and say, listen, you boys, like, relax yourselves, know your place, and he's just gonna have to deal with him accordingly.
Yo, by the way, and this is what I've been thinking about it. I was watching the Fury fight, and the way Ngannou has his guard, that uppercut of AJ has not really been a weapon. That it's a deadly uppercut. It's going to make an emergence in this fight. It is. And he's going to be landing there. And I don't care how thick. You're talking about how thick and all this stuff Ngannou is. Like, it's whatever to me, okay? All that thickness ain't going to matter, bro, because you know what he is? He's also stiff. He has no head movement, bro. Like I'm very surprised that Fury.
She likes it thick and stiff.
No, look, but Fury, like his footwork was problematic. I just think AJ is really good at mid-range. That's his wheelhouse. And AJ has a more powerful hook than Fury, a more powerful right-handed Fury, and he's got a deadly uppercut. And that uppercut is going to go right through that guard. That guard does not work. Okay, it may work with a little freaky ass jab of Fury, right? It may work with that, but it's not going to work with an AJ who will thread the needle around that guard and keep him locked up. And Ngannou's going to be locked up like this for the majority of the fight, right? And I think he's going to be worn down in this fight. AJ's going to knock him out, and y'all need to get on board. I don't want, if you're scary, do not come on here like you knew all along that the boxer was going to win. You weren't worried about nothing. And I don't want to see none of that if you're scary. I'm just going to put that out there.
Yeah, I'm with you, D. And remember, that's what I said. I can see it like a Jermaine Franklin, because remember, AJ was landing them uppercuts viciously on Franklin, but Franklin had a good beard. But I don't think Ngannou's been hit by someone like an AJ before. So we're gonna see how that MMA chin stands up, because to me, a lot of them MMA guys, they can't really take a punch.
Even Johnny Nelson's kind of like saying that this could be a problem for AJ. Like, even a lot of the pundits,
they're bracing for impact because they're scary motherfuckers. That's what it is. They're scared and they want to brace for impact.
No, Johnny Nelson is being a little Sky Sports company man hater, because if this fight was on Sky Sports, he would be saying he was being why about nothing. But come on, we know what Johnny's game is.
Johnny Nelson's like he goes out of his way. He goes out of his way to be provocative. That guy, man. I don't think he believes half of what he says. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
I'll tell you one guy who I don't believe, and that's Ryan Garcia, who's been all over the news, all over social media this whole week. And now he's come out and quieted down after having a conversation with Patrick Bet-David. From here on out, he said that he's going to continue to just talk about boxing. Let's see if this happens. But I don't know. A lot of people are saying he's doing this to pull out of the fight. A lot of people are saying that he's doing this to promote the fight. I just think, like Steve Kim said, I think the kid's a narcissist, and I just think he'll do anything for attention. And this is part of the plan of getting attention. This is how he gets his narcissistic supply out of people. What do you think, Manny? Do you think this fight's going to happen on April 20th? And are you really concerned for Ryan Garcia? Because I think this is all just an act. My opinion.
That's all he does. That's all he's always been doing. Why did him and Tank Davis had, the biggest pay-per-view fight, right? The way he trash talk, the way he conducts himself to his followers to get the attention. When Ryan Garcia doesn't have that attention, because in this case, Haney's going to get it all, you're going to try to do anything possible to bring that attention to you. And I think that, something's going on with this kid too. That's more concerning. The back and forth about the girls, the back and forth about the trash talk, the back and forth about what? I think he needs to shut the fuck up, and I think he needs to focus on his training and do a whole lot better than he's done in the past. Yes, he can bring the masses, but that's not going to help him at all to win a fight like this one. Simple as that. And so I don't know if everything that De La Hoya it's gone through, it's gotten he's getting contagious of that, and it's this battle between, he fights against everyone, doesn't respect anyone at all. And I like Ryan Garcia. Don't get me wrong, I really do. But at the end of the day, if you talk the talk, you gotta walk the walk. And at times, we just don't see that. We didn't see it with Tank Davis, whether he quit or not. I just think that was the worst performance I probably would seen in my entire life in boxing. With all the trash talking, with all the fast hands and everything he does, I mean, where is it? Where was it? One single punch, and just he couldn't take it. I get it, could have been a liver shot. When I look at that shot over and over and over, and I just didn't see like a really true punch. You know what I mean? I just like I get it. You get to hit yourself in the liver, and then you're gonna feel it. But I've seen bigger. I mean, I've seen stronger punches in the body, and I see those guys standing there, and then they get down, but they can get up back again. And I just it was such a disappointment to see him that way. That fighting against someone that's been proven himself, and that he's shutting people's mouth up like he's done to me. And I just don't think right now that he has any opportunity unless he just closes all those social medias and focus on what he's got to focus on. Stop putting that bullshit, fast hands and all this training shit like, back and forth. I mean, anyone can do that on tape, right? Can you do it inside the ring? That's the question. Is he capable of winning this fight? I think so, but I think he's got to do a lot of things around him, and especially with his immediate circle of people around him. They need to just someone around him needs to say, hey, listen, just shut the fuck up, all right, and just focus on what you have, what you can control. You can't control anything else. You're still going to get paid a lot of money. Obviously, I think it's not about the money, apparently. But at the end of the day, it's about the legacy. It's about, redeeming yourself. It's about coming back with a huge opportunity, right, and being able to make the best out of it. I would hate to see the same shitty, performance he did against Tank Davis. That would be like, serious. So, am I concerned about him? Absolutely. I got a text this morning about my friend, and he had said, and we trash talk about this. He says, man, Ryan Garcia is losing it. He's on all the drugs it can be. I don't know if they're drugs or not. And I just started laughing, but it's right. The people are seeing that, and it's not fun anymore. We want to see all the trash talking good, but we want to see the performance inside the ring. And if you cannot perform inside the ring, you're not going to get me with your trash talking. That's all I got to say.
D-Style, where's Derek James in all of this? And what do you think's going through this guy's head, saying to himself, what the fuck did I get myself into? Why did I even take this assignment?
Look, there's so many ways to go with this. Look, first of all, I don't believe Ryan. I think he's a liar. I think he's lying about the things he said he saw and experienced, because if you see and experience something like that, you don't just rant about it on X, Twitter, that is, just randomly, right? And then get over it the next day because Patrick B. David told you to focus on boxing. Okay? That's not how it works, okay? We have a 25-year-old man who people keep calling a kid that's highly influenced very easily by authority figures like Floyd, like Patrick B. David, right? He listens to everyone except the people that have his best interests in mind, like B-Hop, like De La Hoya. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he doesn't listen to the people he's supposed to listen to. Okay, he's over here calling Derek James a father figure when he has a father. I'm still wondering what that's about. Okay? My father passed away in 2018. I would never call somebody else my father figure when my dad was alive. And I didn't even have the best relationship with my dad, all right? But I just wouldn't do that. That's just me, right? This dude is all over the place. I think he's a liar. I think he wants to get sympathy. I think he's immature. I don't know if there's some arrested development going on, but he reminds me of a child. Everything. Oh, where was De La Hoya and Hopkins? They weren't there after I lost. Like, boo-hoo, motherfucker. Like, go cry about it to somebody. Like, why are you bitching about it to everybody? Like, because I was looking around and my team wasn't there. Shut up. Like, goddamn. And then after the Duarte fight, he's like looking around like, Where's Derek? Where's Derek at? Like, what do you want Derek to do? Like, hold your hand in the press conference or something? He needs to sit next to you or what? Like, what are we doing? I'm just noticing the pattern here, okay? And then people that he goes on a jog with Floyd and he just changes all the plans that he had, right? And then the Patrick B. David interview, and if you guys haven't seen it, check it out. It's very revealing to me, okay? It just is. Very immature kid eating a Jolly Rancher in the middle of the interview. Patrick B. Davis dropping hints like, do you really think Floyd's trying to help you out here? Okay, he himself says Floyd influenced Tank to put the restrictions in the fight, like the catch weight, right? But then he turns around and says, Floyd's my friend. Don't you understand? This is what like a 12-year-old girl would say, right? If the parents told her, hey, don't hang around with them. They're bad for you. She's my friend. Don't you know that you could have friends? Like, that's what he sounds like to me. All right? He is trapped in a little kid's body as a mature. I don't get. I heard Bradley today on Coach Malachi's show saying this guy has 3 children. And they need a strong father in their life. And he's looking at how weak he looks. It's weak. Like, you know, everyone is so infatuated with mental illness. I'm not saying mental illness isn't a real thing, that we forgot to just call out weakness, okay? If a motherfucker's weak, it doesn't mean he's suffering from mental illness. He's just weak, all right? He's not a resilient person. He's not a mature person. Is he going to make it to the Haney fight? I have no freaking clue. And that's not something I should be wondering about when it comes to a prize fighter. Fighters should be resilient. Some of the most resilient people I've ever known about were fighters. So I don't know if this is a new generational thing. I don't know what the hell's going on. But this dude has a lot of issues. And if his head is not all there for a fight, then he should go get some help and spare us all this fucking drama. Spare us all this Bohemian Grave shit. Okay, spare us that you got held down and were forced to watch things you shouldn't have watched. And just spare us all these stories and go get some fucking help, dude. All right? That's what you should do. So you tell me you saw that, but you didn't say anything. You were acting perfectly normal, but then one night you just decided to rant about it on X. So all this isn't adding up to me. All right? His stories aren't adding up. And I just think he's one more thing. I honestly do believe he's a pathological liar, right? He has all the signs of it, right? And along with the immaturity and all that, I mean, this guy, all he's got is a left hook and everything. What he's got? Left hook and money. So I don't know if he's going to show up. And I'll be honest with you, I think he knows what we all know. I think he knows he can't win that fight. I think he knows this. That's why, to me, like, if you wanted to find a way out of the fight, he's done almost everything. Like, he's complained about the location. You don't think he knew it was going to be in New York? And he starts making a big deal about it, right? He gets in Haney's face very aggressively, maybe hoping Haney swings at him or something and cancels the fight. I just think he's doing a lot of things, to me, that are showing signs of somebody that wants out. But he wants somebody to pull him out. And it looks like the people around the event are like, nah, we'll keep you around, brother. All right? So if you had a gun in my head, is he going to make it to fight night? I'm going to actually say no. I think the odds on favorite is that he doesn't make it to fight night. That all the signs are pointing to it, in my opinion.
I don't know where to go with this one, Danny, because I think that this is just someone just looking for attention. I don't even think that half the stuff he says he believes. But does this help or hurt the promotion? I mean, does this make you more excited for this fight?
No, it makes people nervous and scary to think, like, is it worth? Should I book a flight? Because remember, they're both from West Coast people. You know, they're fans. Are they thinking, do I book a flight because I'm going to lose my money on my flight? Or do I book a hotel because I'm not really sure about this fight? You know, do you buy the pay-per-view? How long is it going to be easy to get my refunds? because he's not making anybody really reassured that he's going to make it to the fight. He had Andrew Tate having to do some kind of intervention, and he was just going off on one. He's got these weird facial twitches when he's talking on the mic. It's all very strange behavior at the end of the day. So it doesn't give anybody any confidence to really want to invest in paying for the fight, booking to go and see the fight, especially as it's not down the road for any of their support system, like their fan base. So to me, it hurts the fight really. But Devin Haney, I can see why he would want to have this fight in New York, because if he's looking to fight guys like Sabril Mateus, who's the other guy? Teofimo Lopez. These fights would also be held in New York, in that state. So he would be trying to build a little base for himself. So it makes a little smart move to bring this fight as an opener, and then have potential fights with Teofimo, Sabril Matias on Puerto Rican Day, Parade Weekend. So for him, it's good. But Ryan, he probably sees it as, what am I doing here? And I think he knows deep down, that he's not in Devin's league, as a pro. Maybe as an amateur, it was a bit more even Stevens. But even the last fight, even I saw like highlights of it. I saw Devin give him a standing count, and he kind of done him up. And yeah, even when he went down, I know that you said Manny, you were surprised the way Ryan went down against Tank, but we saw Oscar De La Hoya go down to a body shot from Bernard, which didn't look particularly big. And Bernard ain't no puncher like that, and he was punching. He's slamming the canvas like he can't get up. So sometimes it's the shots that doesn't look necessarily the hardest what do the most damage, but what it is just, he just doesn't look really good. Even the last fight where he was doing the sausage roll, I can't call it a shoulder roll because it was a sausage roll. It doesn't look like he's really improved. He's just got as you said, he's just got the left hook. He's just not really. He's not going to do it, is he? And mentally, he seems very fragile. I didn't even know he had 3 children, but that is not a good way to behave. If you've got 3 children, that's not a man you look up to and say, "Yeah, this is the strongest man I know. This is the strongest man in the world. That's my dad." You're not really looking forward to him coming to parents' evening when he's talking about some of the things he's talking about. He's looking very unhinged, I must say. So, I'm not confident in the fight. Do I think he'll make it? He might make it because he might be tied down contractually to something where he probably can't even get out the fight, unless, as D-Style says, he wants someone like Devin or someone to punch him. Why he got his bodyguards in the initial concourse to start trying to do a fight, where he turned his back and he curved and he ran off and stuff like that. Maybe he wants someone to hit him so he can get out the fight, but other than that, he's so locked in. He's one of those PBC style deals. Now he's hooked up with Floyd, that he probably can't get out of the fight unless someone actually hits him. So, yeah, it's one of them ones.
So, Jeff, let me throw a hypothetical at you right now, because you like to travel, you like to go to fights. Say you get credentialed to this fight. Do you buy plane tickets?
Oh, I would go. If I could cover, if somebody was to offer to pay for it, I would go. This is epic. Devil's advocate role, because I was already going to come at this perspective anyways, because this is just how I see it. Get offended if you want. First things first. All this talk about legacy and what it means to be a great fighter. Okay, if you're in an echo chamber of boxing experts and boxing fiends like we are, that works. But you got to also step outside the box of boxing world. We're a fringe sport, especially in the USA. On the outside of it, we are degenerates who love violence. We want to see violence. So the whole idea of virtue signaling as far as what's wrong and what's right with boxing, it's always been a den of straight up thieves. Let's not put a dress on this pig or put a Gucci sweater on the hog shit. It is what it is. I love the sport. It's always been at the fringes. You've got 48 laws of power. Amongst them are conceal your intentions, court attention at all costs, keep others suspended in sheer terror, be unpredictable, recreate yourself, play on people's needs to believe in a cult-like following. I'm sitting here watching Ryan Garcia check off every mark on the box. It's fascinating. I was at the press event out there at the Avalon in Hollywood. I don't know what's up with this myth about teenage girls, even though based on my viewer metrics, anytime I talk about Ryan Garcia, the 97.3, 97.4 of mostly males that watch my videos turns into like 75, 25, 65, 35. So he does pull a lot of women watchers. I saw a bunch of youngsters wrapped around that block in Los Angeles. Most of them little Edgar-ass Mexican teenagers, little Edgar haircuts, curly hairs, you know the type. The kid has the generation by the balls. And if there's one thing that people like you, me, and the rest of us that do boxing have a hard time, is these youngsters to fucking listen. They don't want to listen because we're just, to them, we're an older sport. But Ryan Garcia, man, them youngsters love Ryan Garcia. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news to hardcore boxing fans, analysts like us, a pseudo-historian like myself, but in the grand scheme of things, in the big picture, we ain't shit. We ain't shit when it comes to the grand scheme of boxing. Selling out an event in our views don't mean a hill of fucking beans. It don't amount to a flea on a dog's dick. It really doesn't. What matters is selling seats and getting butts in those seats. I remember seeing Leonard Ellerby in an interview with the homegirl Chandra LeBlanc of the Best Women's Boxing Podcast. And Leonard Ellerby sat there and said, I don't really care what these hardcore fans think about Tank Davis and what we're doing with his career. Because in the end, hardcore boxing fans amount to maybe, if you're lucky, about 100,000 people in the United States. We're not going to sell arenas with those 100,000 people because most of them are probably in their 40s and 50s. Tank is an entertainment. Tank is an attraction. Tank brings out the hoes. Tank brings out the rappers. The reality of the situation is it's a business and it's about money. Now, Ryan Garcia has been acting super unusual and he has been getting all kinds of attention. The man's name was the top trending topic on Google and Twitter when he started acting erratic. And let me tell you about boxing fans, right? You think we got cult followings in boxing? You think that whole PBC cult thing, the anti-PBC cult thing, you got the big following? Imagine that's a candle. Hold that candle up to the sun, and that sun, that eclipsing sun, is the alt-right conspiracy theorist nutcases. If I was somebody trying to market to the most gullible, ignorant, retarded audience in all of social media, in American social media, I go straight for those dumb bastards. They buy it and chew it up. Oh, we got us a Mexican. We got us a Candace Owens talking about Pizzagate, talking about Bohemian Grove. He's going to be the savior to free the Matrix. He's the one. That's what they think when they see Ryan Garcia. That dude got millions of people talking about him. These comment sections, read the comment sections. We got to protect him. He's the one. He sees the truth. The elites, the power elites, they got to go down. Oh, Lord. I hope he goes radio silent about this whole subject until fight week. Rest assured, come fight week, all kinds of media, completely unrelated to boxing, is going to beat that event. And they're going to ask strictly Ryan Garcia questions about what the hell he was talking about. And not even, Devin, who? Oh, is this a fight event? Oh, we want to see Ryan Garcia. Americans, be dead if y'all sit here and look at me like we don't love a good trash can fire. We elected an asshole to the presidency. Now we got a guy with Alzheimer's. Our basis for what is attractive with women is a trash can fire of a family called the Kardashians. We love us a trash can fire. We want to see Ryan Garcia. Now he got the whole world hating his ass. Everybody wants to see him get knocked the hell out or beat to a bloody pulp by Devin and Dream Haney because it's a trash can fire. And guess what? When this fight ends up selling more than 1 million pay-per-views, his value will still be high. And he will still have another huge pay-per-view event after that, fighting somebody else that wants to collect a big, life-changing paycheck. That's what Ryan Garcia is doing. He is pimping everybody. It's hilarious. Is he a pathological liar? Yeah. Is he an actor? Yeah. I work with a biochem department full of Korean girls that do that weird shiny porcelain pale skin makeup. It looks like some cokehead shit. That's the beauty standard out there. I was out there at the Avalon in Hollywood. He came out there riding a white horse. How many different narratives you cross in there? Behold a pale horse. Is he talking about that? Is he talking about some biblical stuff? Is he talking about the white horse and the 40 virgins taking digs at Islam? He's covering so many different controversial subjects and topics and powerful symbolism. And he's sitting there doing videos looking like he's reading a hostage ransom letter with a crown of thorns. Bravo. Bravo. He is going to get millions to tune into that little funky fight. I promise you that. He's going to be focused on that fight. Derek James is going to sit there quietly and collect his 20 to 30%, $3 million, $4 million gladly. Ryan Garcia is jerking everybody. Congratulations. Welcome to the Ryan Garcia Show, folks. that this is what's going on, and it's way bigger than boxing. The people that are going to fill those seats are probably not even going to be boxing fans. They just want to see Ryan Garcia, the new messiah of the alt-right conspiracy and all the human sex trafficking and the Jeff Epstein Islands and stuff. That's who he tapped into. The most gullible, dumb, easy to sell crap to motherfuckers that are on social media. Ooh. That's who he sold it to.
Damn. Like,
that's who he sold it to.
So real quick,
and then he's gonna do it again, and he's gonna ante it up.
No, he's gonna change. He's gonna change the character.
Well, one quick point. All that's fine, and what you said about what Leonard said about the hardcore diehard fans, all that's cool.
He's not even worried about selling. He's not even worried about selling.
No, I get all that, and cool. That's cool. No problem. But stop getting mad, Leonard, when people call out Tank for not fighting the real fights. Because not caring means then stop stalking Calix and quote tweeting him when Calix points out that he hasn't fought a top 5 guy in the last few fights, because it's obviously bothering you. Because at the end of the day, that's cool, but substance at the end of the day does matter to a certain degree. You go out there, you could sell tickets, you could sell a lot. In the case of Ryan, you could bring out the teenage girls, all that. All that's cool. No problem. The alt right and all that, it's all good. I get it, but just I'm just, all I ask of them is don't get mad at me when I point out that you haven't accomplished shit when it comes to substance. That's all I'm saying.
Cringe sells. I don't know how to do the cringe because that's just not my thing. But cringe, oh man, if you could bottle up and sell it, Ryan Garcia's got it in tons. And that's going to sell. People love it. Welcome to 2024. This is social media. Ryan Garcia was making videos when I was still in college in 2014. I remember seeing his little young ass hitting the bags and the Cobra bags and doing that stuff. This is Ryan Garcia's boxing social media. We are on, folks. I hate to be the bearer of bad news.
We're in his world.
He's pimping Elon Musk's Twitter. Like, it's hilarious. And I'm just sitting back eating popcorn like, this kid is hilarious and a marketing genius. I could be wrong. He might crash and burn and end up in a loony bin on some Britney Spears nonsense, getting hauled away with a bald head. I don't know. But from what I look like, he's just playing the fundamental 48 laws of power and jerking everybody along. And it's fabulous. Let this whole shit burn. Because boxing was a den of thieves anyways. You think those guys aren't crooks at the top levels of the sport? No knock to Eddie. I love them all. I'll rock with Al Heyman, Eddie Hearn, whatever. Those dudes are all doing whatever they can say, whatever they can do to sell some damn fights to people that are not critical boxing fans. We're the enemy, y'all, because we know boxing history. We know how to place it in the right perspective. We know that Tank is not a 3-division champion and Reggie belts don't count. We know that Rolly Romero got that off a paid referee. Like, come on, man. Like, we know what's going on with the game. We're the problem. We're the threat.
I'm an enemy. We're the resistance. Like Star Wars. Maybe that's what it is.
Persistence beats resistance.
Jeff, how many pay-per-view buys does this get?
If he manages to really stay focused and really just focus on boxing and really, it's imperative on him not getting stupid again and staying focused on the game, over $1 million.
Okay.
Over $1 million. I think you guys underestimate like the trash can fire thing. America loves a trash can fire. I'm telling you.
I'm starting to see the flames get high because Stephen A. Smith was talking about it.
Stephen A. Jackass Smith.
Patrick Bet-David's talking about it. He was personally calling the kid, telling him to stay focused until the fight. Like, people are talking about this.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, just a lot of you guys don't go to TikTok. Boxing Minute on TikTok, look him up. He doesn't need the plug. I mean, he's got like a lot of people watching him, but still, make sure you guys watch him.
All right, guys. I think that'll do it. Until next time, I want to thank everybody on the panel, thank everybody in the chat, and I am looking forward to tomorrow, and we will see you next time.
Peace out, y'all.
Boom.
Peace.